ជំរាបសួរសូមស្វាគមន៍ថ្ងៃនេះនាងខ្ញុំរីករាយណាស់ដែលនឹងបានពិភាក្សាជាមួយនឹងកូនស្រីរបស់ខ្ញុំក៏ប៉ុន្តែសូមទោសដល់ទស្សនិកជនទុកជាមុនពីព្រោះអីកូនខ្ញុំអត់អាចនិយាយភាសាខ្មែរបានដូច្នេះនាងខ្ញុំសូមនិយាយជាភាសាអង់គ្លេស Welcome Lala
Thank you
សូមជំរាបសួរ
ជំរាបសួរ
ចេះបានតែប៉ុណ្្នឹងឯងចេះបានតែជំរាបសួរនឹងឯងOkay, so the reason why I want to do this show is because I want to give my audience the real Nancy, the raw and uncut and unedited. So I want to ask you first some questions that came from various people. And then after this segment is done, you will get to ask me questions. So hopefully we can give people the real us. So first I want to ask you what does it feel like to be Nancy Lee's daughter?
Wow.
What is it about? How does it feel?
Well, how does it feel to be Lala's mom? I'm just kidding. Let me see. As Nancy Lee's daughter, I feel like there is a lot of pressure just because people know I'm Nancy Lee's daughter and because we look alike, so people already know like I'm your daughter. When people see me, oh, you're Nancy's daughter. I'm like, yeah, that's me. So I think there's a lot of pressure, but also it's fun because you do know a lot of people. So sometimes, I do get some hookups. So thank you to all my mom's friends. People always say good care of me because I am your daughter. So that's always nice. And you're very popular, so everybody knows who you are. A lot of older Cambodian people, they ask me like, oh, who's your mom? And I say Nancy, like Nancy, and I'm like, yeah, Nancy Lee. And they're like, okay, yeah, I know Nancy. And I'm like, yeah, that's my mom. So it's fun, but sometimes I wish I did just have a regular mom, but but it's fun.
It's fun?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this question is from Kanalen Kang. You've been to Cambodia twice in your lifetime. Some children, some youth don't even have the chance to go to visit their homeland or their parents' homeland. So to her question is, what is your favorite things to do in Cambodia?
My favorite thing to do in Cambodia is definitely Jimoto, right? I did that a lot with my cousins. We always ride on the back of somebody's moto and went to the rice fields and just hung out. That was a lot of fun. But our last trip there, we did teach English classes out of our grandma's house, and that was a lot of fun, just being able to teach the kids for a few hours every day. That was my last trip, but that's what we look forward to, just hanging out with my cousins, seeing the rice fields, and just breathing in really fresh air was the best part, and just having fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, nothing GMO, everything's kind of just grown there. So there's a lot, but I guess my top two would be riding around, going to the rice fields, and teaching our English classes.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
There was one time where I made you work in the rice field.
Oh, yeah.
So that you can understand where rice came from and the value of rice. How was that?
I definitely didn't know rice was planted in the water, because we always eat rice. I'm just okay, I think maybe it just grows from the ground and just comes off. So us going in there and actually planting it was just eye-opening, a big learning curve for me. I didn't know that's how rice is grown. And then also I was so scared because all the leeches, you telling me that you and your family during the war, everybody got bit by leeches and stuff or snakes. So I was really scared.
I still have scar.
Yeah, so that's what I was most scared of. I'm like, oh my goodness, but I think we definitely take rice for granted. So I feel like now I really don't like to waste rice because I know it takes a lot of work just to go in and plant it individually, going in there, digging the hole, putting it in. And yeah, so.
What was your least favorite of your experience in Cambodia?
My least favorite was
Your least favorite. That's right.
the toilets. Right? I mean, pretty embarrassing, but my first few times, I wet myself because I'm like, how do you do this?
I think that's everybody's least favorite.
Like when we go to the restroom, I'm like, what do I do with this? Do I have to go down this low to use the restroom? I think that was my least favorite. And then showering outside of the house, like, we having to go take a shower. There's no hot water. There's no plumbing. We have to go outside to take a shower. That was my least favorite. But, you definitely get used to it. You learn how to do it. And now I squat like a pro. So, it's fun. But that was my least favorite. But it's not even that bad. We learned to laugh about it now. And we had a good time. And that was it. But it still wasn't that bad.
Okay, good. Now, the next question is from Mia Lad. Growing up as a Cambodian American, have you felt guilt for what your parents and grandparents went through? If you have, how do you honor them?
Do I feel guilt? It's not so that I feel guilt because there's not really anything that I could have done that would have changed it. So I don't feel guilty. I do feel like bad, and I feel sorrow for our country and our culture, because there was a time where Cambodia was prospering, that we were doing so well, like our royal kingdom and stuff like that. We were on top of the game in the Asian culture. So I do feel bad and sad because it's like our country is so like it's so bad now, and it's so corrupt, and I hate it because now people see our country for what it is now and not for what it was before. So I do feel bad and I do feel sad, but to honor my parents, I feel like now I just have to keep my culture alive by by food. Food is a big thing. I'm trying to learn how to cook more Cambodian food to at least keep that going.
You're not learning that from me,
Yeah,
right?
I know that, I just been like, I'm on YouTube or on Google trying to look up Cambodian recipes. Any events I try to go to, try to support anything. That's why I was involved in our Cambodian club on campus. One thing that I know I do lack is learning the Cambodian language, but that's, it's so hard now because you don't even speak Cambodian at home. And then, our grandparents know English. Everybody speaks English. There's not really much Cambodian that's being spoken. And I feel like that is a big flaw in the young Cambodian community now. We don't really take the time to learn our language. And I just wish that it was more, not easier or more, but I just wish it was more accessible and more like the thing to do. I'm not saying I do follow trends and stuff, but if a lot of people my age were learning it and a lot of my friends were going to class, I'd be like, okay, let's go, but now it's, we're older, we work, everybody works, and it's just in the back of our minds because we're like, okay, we only really speak it with our parents and our grandparents, and yeah, but other than that, I just feel like I honor my parents and my family by just keeping a respectable image. I'm always respectful when I go out. I feel like I never really put a bad name on the Cambodian community, Yeah.
Is that a lot of pressure?
I mean, it's a lot of pressure, kind of, just because, I am a woman too. I am a Cambodian American woman. So I feel like there's a lot of pressure about being respectable. I mean, it's not a problem because, yes, you raised us to be respectable and have good morals, but at the same time, it's like I can't really do anything that's going to make me fall into that Cambodian stereotype, and just a lot of stereotypes in the minority communities, like getting pregnant or dropping out of college or things like that. I feel like people are always looking at us, even though people aren't really looking at our accomplishments. They always look at what we're going to do bad and how we're going to fail. So I feel like I always have to succeed so people don't look at me like, oh, just another young Cambodian woman just messing up, yeah.
Okay, good. Now the next question is from Chantol Pong. What is the one thing your mom did that made the most impact in your life?
I feel like that's very stressful. No pressure. One thing that I feel like but just our women in our family, I feel like we have a very strong female presence. You know, in our family, our women are all very strong. So,
Definitely.
yeah, you know, our women are all very independent. You know, you being a single mother, and then even though my other aunts have husbands, everybody's so independent and so strong, able to take care of the kids, have careers, do all that. So it definitely, you know, motivated me and the other women in my family to just be strong. And I feel like the impact that you and the women in our family did was just being strong and getting through it. You know, all the other guys in our family, I mean, no offense to my cousins, my uncles and stuff, but you know, you always need help from grandma or from, you know, all the other aunts. And all the girls, we don't really need help. We're able to figure it out on our own because our moms have always done that. They've always just figured it out and just do it.
Yes.
And the boys, you know, they complain, they don't know how to do this, they don't know how to do that, but we know how to do everything. And
That's true.
yeah, so, yeah, right?
Okay, we will be right back. Welcome back. I am having a blast talking to my beautiful daughter Lala today. Now the next question is from Nora Chai. Describe the similarities and differences between us.
Okay, so our first one would be our looks.
Yes.
Everyone always says we look alike.
Definitely.
You know.
But I think you're more beautiful.
Thanks. You're just being nice.
No, seriously. And the teeth?
Yes, everything down to our teeth. They're actually both crooked, the same. Our teeth is like literally facing the same direction.
And then the scars on our chin. We
Scars on our
both
chin.
got scars on our chin when we both were younger.
Yes. Our hair is both very fine.
Yes.
Summer has really thick hair, thick, shiny, healthy hair, and we have very fine hair.
Yes. And then our tattoos in our back.
Yes, we have 2 matching tattoos. What else? Similarities. Oh, we're both very talkative.
Yes, both very friendly.
Both, yes.
And both are go-getters.
Go-getters, yes.
Both are leaders. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
Similar.
We like the same food, Cambodian
Yes,
food.
same food.
Called pahog.
Yes, you taught me how to love pahog, or pahog period.
Yes.
The grung. We have the same food taste, yes, definitely. Same food taste.
I definitely indoctrinated those things.
Yes,
in
you did.
you.
I love for food. I love for sleep.
We both are lazy.
Yes, lazy when it's time.
When it's time,
But when
yes.
it's time to get work done, we get our work done.
Yes.
But we are very lazy. too.
Procrastinator, would you say we both are procrastinators?
Yes, but we always pull it off. You see? We always pull it off. You know.
Let's see, what else? Can you sing? I never heard you sing.
No,
I
don't
can't
sing,
sing
no.
either.
But I can dance. You can't dance.
I can't dance.
Summer can't dance. You can't dance. But I can dance. What else?
Okay, I'm afraid to ask you to dance. Okay, so the differences.
Differences. I'm more patient.
Definitely more patient.
Yes.
I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and you are more calm.
Yes, I can keep it composed.
Yes.
But Summer and my mom have such a short fuse. Those two literally get so upset with one another. They are the same. They are the exact same person, but I'm definitely more patient. I'm always like the peacemaker, the mediator. I can
Yeah.
always see like the differences. You know, I'm more gray. But you and Summer, I feel like, are more black and white. See, like this or
Yes.
like that.
I know. It's either I'm very nice or I'm very mean. And I can't control my emotion. I can't hide.
Yeah.
But after I blow off the fuse, then I'm calm. And
Yeah. So yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. You and Summer both have like those, you know, those different personalities. But I'm pretty much the
More
same. And
Mellow.
yeah. What else?
You're definitely more of, you stick with your goals, I notice. Yeah, you stick with your goals. I tend to get something started and not follow through. You're good at following through. I noticed that.
Oh, thanks.
And our differences is that I had you when I was 20, and I'm so happy that you're still single and no children at 25. So you're definitely made smarter choices in that department.
Yeah.
And what else? You chase after your dreams versus I am
You don't
more
feel like you did?
Yeah. I'm more like scared of what other people would think, or I'm not confident to chase after what I want. But I feel like you are more confident. For example, you're an esthetician now, you know, and you wanted to do that, and you went to school for it, and now you are one. So I don't think I would have the courage to do that. So that's the differences.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I feel like maybe if you were in my shoes, you know, 25 with no children, not married yet, you would kind of be doing the same thing, you know? For me, I feel like I have to just chase my goals and my dreams now because I don't have any kids. So now is the only time I can do it. So I feel like I have that pressure and kind of that time crunch. Like I need to do it now or else I'm not going to do it. But for you, you know, it's different. You came here when you were, you know, like a young teenager, and then, you know, you got married and you had kids, and that was that. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with the path you chose, but I feel like if the roles were switched, of course, you know, you would be able to chase all your dreams and your goals. But I mean, you know, even now at your age, we won't say her age. You know?
That's okay. I'm 45 and I'm proud.
But, you know, even now I feel like you're doing what you want to do now. You know, you talked about travel. You didn't get to travel when you were young, but you want to do that now. You have your show you always wanted to do. So you're doing that. I mean,
still working on the traveling part.
But, you know, you have goals now, and now you're probably likely to do them and to achieve them because Summer and I are older. So now you don't have that priority anymore of having to take care of your kids.
So that leads me into the next question. What was it like growing up with a single mother and not having a father in your life for many years?
Yeah. Was that a question from you?
Yes.
So growing up with a single mother, I feel like it was hard as a kid because, you know, there's like father-daughter dances, or people always like, oh, my dad did my hair and things like that. So there are some things that made me sad because I'm like, okay, you know, I never had a dad to teach me like how to ride a bike or how to throw a football, how to play basketball. I didn't have those things, but I did have, you know, you to teach me other things. Like you were always the handyman in our house. So now when I buy things, I'm able to put it together myself. I don't have to depend on anybody. And then, like, you know, as for sports and doing other stuff, I had guy cousins to teach me. I had other cousins. So it wasn't a big void that I felt growing up. I did feel it a little bit, but I felt like I knew it kind of wasn't going to change. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be sad about not having a father figure. I'm just going to continue to learn these things from my mom and from the rest of my family. You know? I mean, it was hard because I felt like you were always working growing up. But now that I'm older, I see you all the time. So now it's like, okay, like now you got to go to work. But I felt like it made me and Summer pretty independent, you know? And compared to all of my friends who had two-parent households, no offense to anybody that has two parents, but, you know, a lot of the times they didn't know how to do a lot of things because either or parent did it, you know? And for me, if you didn't do it, then I had to do it. And because you did these things, I had to learn how to do these things. You know, I had to learn how to be the mom and dad too for Summer when you're not around. And my other friends didn't know how to do those things.
Yeah, for example, you had to learn how to do the dishes at 5.
And laundry, you know. A lot of my friends even now don't know how to do their own laundry, you know, because their mom does their laundry. And
see, all those things that I did that on purpose. You know, I wanted to teach you how to be independent. That's why I didn't cook or clean or shovel the snow.
You see, that's why I know how to do that now. But
yeah,
now I know I don't have to really depend on anybody. You know, like my friends, they're like, oh yeah, my dad put it together for me. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Okay, well, I put it together myself, you know? And yeah, I think that's what it was like, just learning how to really be independent. As a kid, you're kind of like, oh my goodness, I wish I had a mom that like did it, or I wish I had a dad that could be here to do it. But, you know, it passes. And now that I'm older, it's kind of like, okay, I didn't really need one, you know?
Okay, so the next question is, what impact has the Cambodian community have on your life? Because growing up, I was always dragging you to the community events when we have. I used to drag you to volunteer all the time, force you many times to do all those volunteer works. So what impact does that have on your life?
The impact that it has on my life is just definitely making me a proud Cambodian American woman, and just it feels good to just be involved. I mean, growing up, I didn't like it. I'm like, ugh, why do we have to go? You know, I don't want to do it. But as I got older, it's very important, because a lot of my friends from other cultures, their cultures don't really do a lot of stuff that we do, or they never helped out, they never volunteered. So I mean, I don't really know how to speak Khmer, but I probably know how to speak more Khmer than my friends do of other cultures, you know? And then their parents were not really involved in the community, so they don't really know what's going on either. You know, it's just things that they learn from home, but being a part of the community taught me to be proud. It taught me to like give back to my community. You know, it taught me to want to be involved with my community, and it just taught me to really try to keep the culture alive by doing the most that I can now. You know, and that's why in college it was really big for me to become a part of the Khmer Student Association, and just making sure that while everyone's at school, we don't forget where we come from. You know, you get to go to school and you're with so many cultures, you kind of lose your own, and having that club on campus and being a part of it was really like, okay, you know, we come here and we feel like we're at home because we're with other Cambodian people who have the same values and morals like we do. So,
yeah, would you say that by me you know, bringing you to all those events is the reason why you like to do community services now?
yes, definitely. Like I said, I didn't like doing it when we were young, but now that I'm older, when I grew up, I was like, okay, I don't mind now. You know, and then it was just kind of bringing it to my Cambodian club and then my sorority, and just telling them like, it's fun to give back too. It doesn't always have to be so dreadful. Like right now it seems dreadful, but you know, you look at how many people you help and how many people you impact their lives, and you want to give back even more. And then when you get your friends involved, it becomes really fun. And as a kid, I think that's why too it wasn't really fun, because I didn't really have, you know, kids my age doing it too. But now that I'm older, I have a lot of other friends from other colleges and stuff, and it just makes it more fun, and it feels like, it doesn't feel like work, and it doesn't feel like we're getting dragged out here to do it.
Okay. We will be right back. Welcome back. Okay, well, that's wrap up the questions that I have for you, or my friends have for you. Do you have any questions for me?
Okay, let me see. I had a question. What is your biggest accomplishment?
My biggest accomplishments, I would say, raising two beautiful daughters who are very independent. They have a mind of their own and have a strong will. And at a very young age, look at you and your sister who's only 20, but she's on her own. So that is my biggest accomplishment. So, you know, like I said earlier, for me, not teaching you or not doing the laundry for you, not doing things for you, taking care of baby you like most parents do, like most of my friends do everything for their kids. I had always had this perception that I have to teach my kids how to survive if something would to happen to me. And I always had this feeling that I wouldn't be on this earth forever. And I also had these feelings that I may live on this earth a very short time. And so therefore, I would need to do everything I can to make sure that you both will make it on your own. You know, if I were to pass like when you were 10 years old, you would know how to survive at 10 years old, wouldn't you say? Because you know how to do laundry, you know how to clean, you did everything on your own.
Yeah.
And so everything that I did, you know, not babying you both, is because I had that perception. I wanted to raise two strong, independent women. And I did just that. And that's exactly how you both turned out. And I'm very proud, you know, because look at you two now. You starting your own business. And Summer is, after her dreams of being a fashion merchandising, she's living on her own, which, you know, I was nervous at first. But she's making it. And she's working now and going to school at the same time. So I would say that is my biggest accomplishment and my most proudest, you know.
Yeah. So what would you have, is there anything you would have done differently? I mean, I know now you said, you know, you're so proud. Is there anything you would have done differently?
If there's anything I would have done differently, not really, because, you know, I had you when I was 20. I didn't have you during high school, but right after high school. And if I wanted to wait, I may be still raising little kids. So I wouldn't change the time. And, you know, and the same with Summer. I always wanted you guys to be, children to be 4 or 5 years apart, and I did just that. And let me see, I had multiple relationships, struggling in relationships and struggling with jobs, and raising you two alone without a single father, without a father for 12, 13 years of our lives. It might have been better if, you know, there was a father figure or there was two income. But then at the same time, looking back, I think that all three of us needed to learn that experience. All three of us had to go through all those struggles so that we could be independent women now. And we are exactly just that. We're 3 independent women. So I wouldn't change that. Maybe I might have learned how to cook. But then at the same time, I had to work multiple jobs just so that we could make our bills meet, so that I, you know, could have the roof over our house, so that we can have a car to take you to school and to put you and your sister in private school. So I couldn't cook because I had to sacrifice cooking and pick up a job. So I wouldn't change that. There are things like, you know, raising you, how to be more patient with you and your sister. If I know now, you know, if I knew then what I know now, I would have definitely probably raised you two more patiently and more understanding when your sister was struggling to find her identity at a young teenage. It was more easier with you because we didn't have to struggle with that. You were an easy child to raise. So I think one thing I would change would be definitely more understanding of Summer and be there more for her. And so I think it's kind of the reason why she has angry issues now. And, you know, and short temper like me. But I think, you know, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
I think we all needed to learn those things that we went through so that we could be who we are today. So I don't know what else would I do differently. Yeah.
Okay. If, based on what you know now, and everything you've learned now, what advice would you have given 25-year-old Nancy? Or maybe let's say like 30-year-old Nancy, because then Summer would have been like 5 already. And yeah, so what advice now would you give your younger self?
I would say definitely be more patient. Um, I have been trying to know myself and read a lot of self-help books in this past 5 years. And so I would say the advice that I would give myself younger age would be, it's okay to be hurt. It's okay to have men walk out of your life or, and stuff like that. Don't hang on to the pain too long. For example, like my stepfather was physically abused us. I would say forgive him because he probably did that because he didn't know any better. And it's just being able to move on quickly and not hold on to the pain, and be stronger, even though I think I was pretty strong. And for the most part, be there for myself more. Love myself more than I love other people or the men in my life. I think the one thing that I didn't know at a young age was that it's okay to love me.
Right.
It's okay to cater to Nancy. It's okay to be there for Nancy, And I think growing up, I learned to put other people first and to be there for other people, so I neglected myself. And that's why it took me many years of finding my identity, finding myself. Now I'm just starting to learn to love myself, learn to accept myself for who I am, and be okay with it. I love being as weird as I am. I love being as crazy as I am now, which, I wouldn't done that when I was younger. I was always conscious about what other people think. I stay in a relationship not because I wanted to, but because how others would look upon me, how others would judge me if I were to leave the relationship. So definitely I would say it's okay. It's okay not to be with someone. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to be wild and crazy and just enjoy life more. I think that's what I would tell myself,
I think that's also why I'm proud of you too, because a lot of parents, you're very Americanized, so we're very lucky that you are. But, other parents, they don't get to learn about that. They don't know how to love themselves. And I feel like because they don't know how to do that, their kids don't know how to do it. But, growing up in this day and age, we're also very lucky because now it's becoming more normal to love yourself. Now there's so many help books and there's so many people that talk about you need to put yourself first, So I'm glad that you learned that now, because back then too, I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't know that. Because, the society didn't really tell you to love yourself. They told you if you love yourself, you're selfish.
Exactly.
If you're a parent, you need to be a parent. There's no me time. There's only, time for your kids. And I'm very, blessed to have you learn to love yourself, because now Summer and I know the importance of self-care, and so that's cool.
Thank you.
Who did you look up to or admire while you were growing up?
When I was at my younger age, raising you as a single mother, I admire Oprah. Oprah Winfrey was my role model. I watch a lot of her show, and I learned to be a better person through her show. And then Ellen DeGeneres, I learned to be funny. I learned that it's okay to be funny and it's okay to lose myself. And then about, I would say, over 10 years ago, I look up to Dr. Wayne Dyer because he changed my life. A friend of mine gave me a book called You See It When You Believe It, versus the other way around. We were always taught that I believe it when I see it, but Dr. Wayne Dyer had a different vision. He said, once you believe it, then you will see it. That book changed my life. And I felt like, my gosh, the information that I learned all my life is wrong. So I had to unteach myself. I had to
Right.
unlearn what I have learned for so many years and what the society taught me. So I look up to Dr. Wayne Dyer, and I became a better person. And he changed me. And currently I am learning from Anita Murjani, who I talk about all the time, the woman who died for 30 hours of lymphomous cancer stage 4. And she came back to life, and her father and her best friend, who were on the spirit side, told her to come back to life and live fearlessly. So that word I try to remember when I feel down or when I feel there's challenges in my life. I reminded myself, live fearlessly. And so currently I am looking up to Anita Morjani, who also teaches self-love is very important, who teaches that what we need in this world is more self-love, not more leaders, not more nonprofit organizations, but more self-love. And because she's been on the other side for 30 hours and came back to life, I believe her words. I think she has a true message to share, because I have never been crossed over to the other side, so what do I know? And other people who talk about how you should live your life and how you should do this, and God is about this and God is about that, God is a male, and all these things, they have never been crossed over to the other side. So why should I believe them? So now I definitely recommend Anita Morjani to look up after. Yeah. Okay, we will be right back. Welcome back. I am having a blast talking to my beautiful daughter Lala today.
What do you think, or how do you live today that spreads the word and the teachings of all the people that you admire?
By being the example. Before, I used to, whatever I learned, I used to try to push it upon other people, or sharing the information by forcing the information. But I found out that that's not always the best way to teach. The best way to teach is to be an example. So now I just learn how, try to love myself as much. I wake up every morning asking myself, how do I love myself more? And for example, the power of manifestation. Instead of force that on people or, tell people or talk about it all the time, I just live it. And then slowly people started to ask questions like, hey, I heard about this. Hey, whatever you are doing, I'm doing it too. Like you, for example. Have you noticed that? I have not really forced what I learned on you anymore, right? Yeah, by just, being the example, I think is more important than preaching.
Yeah. I'm glad you know that now. Let me see. So if there's anywhere in the world that you would want to travel to, where would you go?
That's a very, very tough question, because if you asked me that question 5 years ago, I would definitely say Greece. That has always been my dream destination. And I fell in love with Greece before I even knew what Greece is all about. I didn't even know the country existed. I just had this vision and dreams in my head that I would like to be on the island where we're all white and, gold, and the ocean is so blue, and white houses and stuff like that. And then I discovered that Greece. And so I was like, I always wanted to, so now I really wanted to visit it. But now I would say Brazil, because I feel that a lot of emotionals or traumas that I had accumulated during my childhood until adulthood, I really need to heal from the inside.
Right.
Nancy needs to heal from the core. So I would definitely visit John of God in Brazil. That would be my first destination. And then Greece will be my second for vacation.
Yeah.
After I'm healed, after I'm happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you can compare yourself to a Disney princess that you're most alike, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Ashley asked me this question.
I would say Cinderella, but I'm the modern Cinderella. The old Disney Cinderella had 2 stepsisters, but I'm the modern Cinderella. I have 2 daughters, and I definitely live the Cinderella life, for a good 9 years. Unfortunately, my Prince Charming had parted from us, and so I think I'm transitioning from Cinderella to Sleeping Beauty right now. I feel.
Well, who's gonna kiss you to wake up? Right? She gotta wake up.
I know. I just saw a meme that said, I think this meme was from Janae. I feel bad for the prince who kissed Sleeping Beauty because she hadn't brushed her teeth in years. So I would say right now in this moment, I am Sleeping Beauty, but I'm not waiting for Prince Charming to kiss me to wake me up. I'm definitely waiting for me to wake myself up. I'm waiting for myself to be awakening. So hopefully I don't have to wait for years. Yeah.
Okay, let me see. What?
Okay.
Oh, we're going to commercial?
No, we're wrapping up.
Oh, I was like, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Okay, let me see.
One last question from you.
One last question from me. I guess, what would be your advice to single mothers?
Advice to single mothers. It's okay to mess up. It's okay if you're not the perfect parent that you think you are. Because your children didn't come to this world to live your life, or they didn't come to this world for you to provide everything for them.
Yeah.
And I think this advice goes to parents, with both parents as well. It's okay for you not to do things for your children. It's okay for you not to baby your children, because they came here for their own experience. They came here to mess up. They came here to learn to provide themselves. And I feel like, the more you try to provide for your children, the more spoiled they will be. The more things you do for them, the more they don't know how to do when they become an adult.
Yeah.
So it's okay to let your children mess up. It's okay to let your children play. They don't have to spend 10, 12 hours reading books. I think bringing them to have an on-hands experience is much better. Bring them to community services. Bring them to the homeless shelter. That's what they will learn or experience in life, not what is written in the book,
Yeah.
So again, your children came here into this physical world to learn themselves, to provide for themselves. Let them do that. Just be kind of like a helping hand, but not so much of doing things for them, So that would be my advice, yeah.
I think that's good. I think also, I guess my advice for parents would be to just trust your kids too. Trust that what you're doing and what you're teaching them, that they're learning, and that when they're out on their own, they're going to do what you've taught them. Of course, they're going to mess up, like as from kids. Of course, we're going to mess up. But you know what parents teach us at home, we're not going to forget it. You know, but you need to leave it up to us to go out there and to experience it for ourselves. Because if you keep telling us to do this, and don't do this, of course we're going to do the thing that you said don't do because you just told us not to do it.
Yes.
You know, like when people tell you, don't look, you want to look because you're like, what is it? You know?
That's
and
true.
yeah, I think it's a balance. Like, of course, our parents, you are all there to guide us and to help us. But again, don't, you know, you got to bring us to the water, but not teach us how to drink because we need to experience it on our own. But you also need to trust us that we are your children. We do know what's right and what's wrong, but you know, some days we want to dab into the wrong things, you know, and it's okay too. Yes. I think it's just important. Like for us, I think that we are just understanding. We're like, okay, you did that, so what did you learn from it? Okay, what are you gonna do next time? How are you gonna be better? But not really just, I feel like there doesn't always need to be negative reinforcement. Yeah. As a parent, you know, I know we grew up like the Cambodian way where, you know, or a lot of culture, you know, spanking and stuff like that. Like, it's not really necessary. If your kids are going to be bad, let them be bad and let them learn from it. Let them suffer the consequences. And the consequences don't always have to be physical. You know, you can take things away from them.
I feel like this advice is also for me. I can't spank you too anymore now.
Yeah, it's like, you know, just because you hit your kid doesn't mean they're going to learn from it. You need to do different things. I think I listened to a podcast with Oprah and Gwyneth Paltrow. I think Oprah on her show said, you know, don't hit your kids. Instead, talk to your kids. See why they're doing what they're doing. Yes. And a woman met Oprah and told her, you know, I used to always hit my son until you told me to stop hitting him. That's when he started behaving.
Wow.
Yeah. He's like, he started behaving because then I would tell him what he did and stuff. And then he realized like, okay, you know, like I won't do it. My mom's not hitting me anymore. I don't need to act out. I don't need to be bad. And you both learn. And
that's a really good advice. I wish I knew that when you guys were younger, but yeah.
You know, you become different people. And I think you just need to talk to your kids more. And the more you're like a friend to your kids, I mean, there are boundaries, of course. You know, there's some things you tell your kids and there's some things you don't tell your kids. But at the same time, you need to be open to that relationship and talk to your kids. Talk it out with them. And I feel like, and that's why we're so close and we have a good relationship because we talk about a lot of things. I
think that's the one thing that's also great about us is that I always try to talk to you every night before you went to bed, and we had always kept that, you know, going on for years. I wish Summer would have been more open and let me talk to her every night. We might have been closer, but you know, she needs her space, and I think we're too much alike that we can't stand each other. Yeah. But then at the same time, we love each other. So yeah, I think that's good. Yeah. If you weren't my daughter, what advice would you have for me now?
As a parent or just like a woman?
Just a woman to woman.
Oh, woman to woman. Well, I guess my advice would be parenting too. Just, you know, let your daughters be who they want to be and make sure you're like involved with their life, but also live your own life too. But be mindful of like the name you carry, the family that you have. Be mindful that it's not just you. You know, you have to keep in mind your whole family, but yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. I think it's just with everybody. You really have to carry yourself, like you need to be your own person, but you also need to honor your name. You need to honor your family and who you come from, but also honor yourself. And I think that's important. You know, love yourself, and yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yes. That's a really good advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you.
Yes, thanks for having me on your show.
អរគុណច្រើនដល់ទស្សនិកជនដែលកំពុងតែទស្សនាកម្មវិធីរបស់នាងខ្ញុំសូមទោសម្ដងទៀតដែលនាងខ្ញុំបាននិយាយជាភាសាអង់គ្លេសសង្ឃឹមថាលោកអ៊ំលោកមីនាមបងប្អូនអាចស្ដាប់បានខ្លះដែរ ហើយផងដែរបើសិនជាបងប្អូនមានក្រុមហ៊ុនឬក៏មានកម្មវិធីអីចង់ផ្សព្វផ្សាយជាមួយនឹងខ្មែរ TV សូមតាក់ទងជាមួយខ្មែរ TV ដែលមានលេខទូរស័ព្ទនៅលើកញ្ចក់ទូរទស្សន៍នេះហើយស្រាប់ហើយឬក៏បងប្អូនដែលមានស្គាល់អ្នកណាដែលមានជីវិតជោគជ័យដែលចង់ឲ្យនាងខ្ញុំសុភាសនៅកម្មវិធីរបស់នាងខ្ញុំក៏ជួយតាក់ទងមកលេខទូរស័ព្ទនេះផងដែរដើម្បីឲ្យនាងខ្ញុំបាននិយាយជាមួយគាត់ដើម្បីឲ្យទស្សនិកជនដទៃទៀតអាចស្គាល់គាត់ផងដែរដូច្នេះអរគុណច្រើននិងសូមជម្រាបលា
ជម្រាបលា